welcome to our first review show after the first week or game 1 week of the English Premier League. I'm Jono, your host, and with me, I've got some smiley faces. We've got Mr. Tix as the Chelsea supporter. What's up, Tix?
You should address me as European champion, not just a Chelsea supporter. European champion.
I'm sorry.
Double champion.
I'm sorry.
But
Double
yes, I'm
champion.
good. I'm good. I'm 3-0 up. I'm 3 points up. I'm scoring goals freely. And I still haven't even put my £97 million striker on the field yet. So,
What a start. With us also, we've got a United fan, or we've got actually 3 United fans tonight, but let's start with Nana. What's up, Nana?
How's it?
How's
No
the
complaints.
weekend?
No complaints from my side. Very happy with the performance. Yeah.
All right. Got Bati in the house. Bati, also a United fan. What's going on?
I'm good, man. Just happy with the score this past Saturday. Looking forward to the show. Also to remind the guys to like the page, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Yeah. Good story. Thank you, Bati. Frank, also from Old Trafford. Got a smiley face on. What's going on?
Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, told y'all gonna say. Well, actually, no. Let me not say it. I told y'all, but I'm quoting a very fellow good teammate supporter saying that we were gonna serve chest pains, and chest pains were served. Nice.
Fire team.
Yeah, see, but he's even showing you chest pain.
Via team.
Okay, all right. We'll get to it. Hold on. All right. Supporting Liverpool. We've got a Liverpool fan. They are back. They are awake. Van Dijk is resuscitated himself. He's playing. Kevin, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm good and you. What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's good to be back. We should be mounting a strong challenge this season. Organjani Frank.
Yeah. What's up?
All right. All good. Guys, we've got a lot to talk about. So, first game that I want us to start with is basically the game that just ended. Many people call it a bit of a surprise. Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City. Tottenham winning it by 1-0. What do you think of that, guys? Let me hear from you, Bati.
Okay. From what I saw on the game is that the centre back pairing was not. You could just see that there's no relationship there. They're not used to playing with each other. I think it was Ike and the best centre back in the world, according to some people. And also what I've noticed is that Grealish is not used to playing with the team. Like the way he plays, I don't think Pep thought about the way Grealish plays and how he's going to introduce him into the team. He keeps the ball too much. He still thinks he's playing for Villa. He still thinks he's the star of the team. Instead of playing 1-2 football, he still does I'm going to drive the ball and, run with the ball and, I'm the star of the team instead of passing it to his teammates. All in all, I'm happy that City lost. I won't even lie to you guys. I'm hoping that this is a start of a very long run of losses. Other than that, yeah, man, City is still the same. I think they're going to struggle this season, especially if they don't sign. I don't see them doing anything without a striker this season because other teams have improved, excluding Arsenal, of course. They will still be like a
Hey, behave. 50 million.
Okay, first strike. You get 3 strikes and I kick you off the stream. 3 strikes and you're off.
No, I'm done. That's my view. I don't want to be long because we don't want to stay all night here. So.
Okay, I think you're being a bit harsh on Grealish. I mean, it's just one game and they weren't that bad. It's just that.
Chief, whoa. There's no just one game. It's 100 million. You can't tell me that for 100 million you need time to adjust.
100.
There's no adjustment on 100 million. 100 million is assists day one.
I hope this will count for trapping first-time balls for Lukaku. Because 197, there isn't much difference.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. As long as he's
There isn't
trapping the
much
ball
difference.
if he's trapping the ball into the back of the net, it's fine.
That one is going to be too hard for him to do.
We'll
So
remind you.
Your views on the game, TK?
I actually didn't watch it. I actually didn't watch City and Spurs. I followed a little bit online on Twitter. I think at halftime when I saw it was still 0-0. I was actually glad that I didn't waste my time watching it because we were all expecting this high-scoring, free-flowing game of from what we've seen of Pep ever since Pep has been Pep. We've known him for a certain brand of football. So I was actually expecting that Tottenham were going to be run over. I was expecting that they would struggle without Kane. I was expecting that with the new manager, he'd go with a very safe approach. But I was pleasantly surprised. I think seeing a guy like Japhet Tanganga in the starting lineup, who we saw glimpses of him under Mourinho as a young boy from the development team, also now coming up. It was nice to see that he got a bit of a run. But I really didn't expect much. But having heard that they lost and lost with Ake in the centre back pairing really made my day, because I've always been saying about Nathan Ake, and people were like, yeah, you're a hater because Chelsea lost him, blah blah blah. There it is. That there was Nathan Ake. But like Bati said, I'm happy that City lost. And I hope it continues. They're not winning anything this season. I hope.
Right.
Okay.
Nice
Frank?
one.
Spurs with a new manager, Nuno Espirito Santo. What do you think of his debut?
Well, like I said, previous show, I genuinely thought that he has one of the better records against City, and I genuinely thought he was going to translate into taking it into the Spurs team. So I didn't expect them to win, but I did expect the game to be very close. I did call it draw, but I'm happy with the result. And City need Kane. If they think they don't need Kane, they need Kane. Me, in my personal opinion. And I'm hoping. Well, kind of me is hoping they don't get him, and also kind of me is hoping they do. But hey, personal selfish reasons. But I was happy with the result. And that's about it.
Boom, Kevin, you watch the game?
Yeah, I watched the game. I think Pep's biggest mistake in this game, I think he should have started Bernardo Silva instead of Grealish. Based on what we just said now, Bernardo Silva is more used to the style of play that Pep plays. But also, having said that, guys, it's the first game and Spurs will be Spurs. As Frank always says, flatter to deceive. Do not expect much from Spurs this season. That's because they beat City in our first game. There is no halabaloo about Spurs. I don't care who's coaching them.
As long as they beat City,
they did their job. They did their job, Kevin. They did their job.
Spurs will be Spurs. Flatter to deceive. That's it. Let's not. People mustn't get excited about Spurs because of this victory. I think that's the one thing we must keep in mind.
All right, we got you. Okay, Nana, your thoughts on this game, and then we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I watched the game, parts of it, but I think I wouldn't say that City don't need Kane. I think it's more of, if Spurs don't sell him and don't sell him fast, you're going to have an unhappy player and you're not really sure if he's going to give you goals when he's unhappy because he's your main source of goals. So if you can get rid of him quickly, I mean, I was listening to the guys in the studio. They seem to think the deal will happen. You know, Glenn Hoddle was saying maybe 130 million. But, you know, thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I think not because of this result. I think it's more of Kane's drive for, I want to go to City. You know, he doesn't want to stay. So let him go. Because if you leave it to the last minute and then you're stuck with a player who doesn't want to play for your team, and, you know. But for me, I'm happy for Nuno because I think, one, it's going to be difficult for City to retain the title. It's always difficult for anybody. I think the history of the Premier League, it's happened maybe twice or three times. And there's a reason for that, because now everybody comes for you, you know. So
Wait, what has happened twice for three?
That a team has retained the title.
It's been more than that, to be honest. But anyway, I'll let you continue.
Well, 2 to 3 times, I think. I don't think it's more than that. But yeah, it's going to be difficult for City. But again, I think it's going to be a good season for Nuno, because Nuno with Wolves, good one season, bad one season. Good one season, bad one season. So I have a feeling that, you know, he's going to get them together, build that camaraderie, excitement, you know, and they might do well this season. Doing well, being top 8, top 7, you know. But other than that, yeah, for me, I still won't write City off, but they won't win the league, in my opinion, simply because the retaining of the title is not an easy thing to do.
Okay. All right. I think, I fully agree with Kevin. Spurs is Spurs. As an Arsenal fan, you know what I think of Spurs, so we'll leave it at that. All right. So that's for the first game. Last night, we saw Norwich go up against Liverpool. Kevin, 3-0. Liverpool is back. Can we say that Liverpool are going to be title challengers this season?
It will depend on how we do. How do I say this? In terms of our injuries as well, because I can tell you now, should Salah also get injured or mine, I don't have enough cover up front.
Have you guys replaced Wijnaldum?
Klopp has not gone to the market to replace Wijnaldum. It shows that, you know what, he's gonna trust Ox and Keita, right? There's this other there's 2 youngsters that are coming from the academy as well. There's this guy called Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones.
He looks good,
right?
He looks good,
Yeah.
Harvey. But yeah.
Yes, Harvey is alright.
You cannot trust Ox, and take it from an Arsenal fan. You cannot trust Ox to finish the
That
season.
is haterism talking, please. That's haterism. You can trust him at Liverpool, but not at Arsenal.
Right.
We'll see
we've
about
got
that.
Jota. You see, because if we get ravaged by injuries,
you have Jota,
yeah. But if we get ravaged by injuries, the way we did again, like if what happened last season happens again now, then we're gonna have the same problems.
Okay.
But were you happy
thing.
with the performance? I didn't watch the
I was
game.
happy with the performance. You know, we start slow.
Wow. If 3-0 is slow, I'll be...
We start slow.
worried.
We start slow. I was happy. We weren't. What I mean when I say we start slow, we were not playing that heavy metal.
Okay.
You know, and we just decided, okay, we'll control the game, score 1, and then we'll make them come to us and then hit them on the counter.
Okay.
You know.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah, Frank.
So do you think that your squad depth has enough? You know, when you and I, we chat, we always speak about, what's the term we use again? The game changer. There's a term we use.
The edge.
But the edge, that's the one.
The edge. Yeah.
So do you think that your team has enough, the edge, to make or to carry you guys over the line towards the title? Because I know you got your Salahs and you got your Manes, etc. But do you have enough on the bench?
We don't, Frank, and that's why I said we don't. That's why I said if we get the same problems we had in terms of injuries, should Salah get injured or a Mane or even a Jota, we don't have guys from the bench that can impact the game as those guys do. We don't have match winners from our bench.
Have you sold? Who was the kid that scored that Champions League goal?
Origi,
have you sold him?
he's still around. We're trying to sell him.
Okay, right.
We're trying to sell him. It's
Like a joke.
But I
Can
must
I
say,
come in?
Liverpool looked good yesterday, especially on the counter. It was like the old Liverpool was back. It was fantastic to see Van Dijk play again. And I actually think I agree with you, Kevin. If you manage your injuries well, yeah, Liverpool will cause problems this season.
I beg to differ with you there, Jono. I think Liverpool became more fluid when Firmino came on. I think Jota is more similar to Mane and Salah. He's selfish. He doesn't want to pass. And Firmino is that guy that gels the two guys. Like he passes to them, he creates for them.
He's the most unselfish player.
Yeah, I think
and also
Jota,
the most underrated, I think.
Jota needs to be played behind.
I'll come to that, TK.
Firmino. You see where Bruno plays for United. I think Jota needs to be played in that position, not as the centre forward between the two guys. And also, just to finish, I think Van Dijk coming back with the injury that he had, I don't think he's going to be the same player that he has. I think his pace and agility and movement won't be the same, but that's just me. We will see as the season goes.
Did you watch the game yesterday? He looked fantastic.
I did.
Old Van Dijk.
I did, but I think in the big games when he has to get in there, he will be found wanting because he's not going to be as fast or agile as he used to be after messing up his ACL.
So no, continue.
Go ahead, Frank. No, with regard to what Batu was saying, let's see when he comes up against the Lukaku's or so, against better opposition. You know, even a Son, for instance, you know, guys who can just give you that inch of pace or that turn of speed. If he still has that same speed to recover and to make those tackles, let's see what happens when we play against better opposition.
Who partnered him on the weekend?
Joe Matip.
Okay.
Yes.
So Gomez is still to come back.
Gomez still has to come back. There's still that other centre back we bought from RP Leipzig. He's highly rated as well. Is it Konate?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
He's a good player. You're getting a really good player there.
Yes.
So Bati, right, you mentioned Jota playing as a number 10 role, right?
Yeah.
So if he plays that role, who comes out of the team? Or do you say they must change the formation completely?
Because usually, okay, go, Bati.
For me, I think a change of formation is needed at Liverpool to accommodate Jota because they're more dangerous going forward. So I don't see the need to play two defensive midfielders, just like at United. Like they should just play one defensive mid and two attacking mids to accommodate Jota going forward. That's just my opinion.
Okay, no, cool. I got it now.
Okay. Guys, we got to keep it moving. So that's Liverpool. Any final thoughts on the Liverpool game? Where are you finishing, Kevin, this season?
With the squad we have, it's enough to challenge for top 4. Between 3 and 4, that's where we'll be.
Okay.
The squad we have, that's a fair assessment.
I love the humility of Liverpool fans at times. Okay, there was another game, Everton at Southampton, or Everton against Southampton. Anybody watch that game? I see that Everton won 3-1. I didn't watch it, so anybody that can tell us?
Nah.
Small teams.
Nah.
Keep it moving.
I didn't watch it, but I will say this. they've got a manager now who, especially when coming against the big teams, is going to be a bit of a problem.
Benitez.
I'm telling you, we've seen him do it at Newcastle.
Oh God.
Yeah,
It's
we've
from
seen
the
him
old
do it at
guard.
Newcastle. Okay, Chelsea, he wasn't really like that much.
But he won them titles.
Chelsea, he wasn't really like that much.
So did Roberto Di Matteo. He also won them titles, but it doesn't really speak to
Ungrateful Mitches.
much credibility there. But what I will tell you about Everton, I think that they were firing. Just off the highlights that I did see. With Richarlison coming back off the high of being an Olympic champion, getting on the score sheet. DCL also, picking up where he left off, and I think that was also a bit of a clear message to Gareth Southgate, because Calvert-Lewin was part of the Euro setup, and the only part that he played was pulling splinters out of his backside from the bench. He really may have shown them something through that tournament. But I think him getting off to a flyer, on day one at home, it's really going to set him up quite nicely for the rest of the season, because he is a confidence player. We've seen that before. Towards the end of last season, when suddenly the goals were drying up, you could really sense a bit of frustration on his part. And he's the type of player that if things aren't going well, he almost regresses into a bit of a shell. But he's going to be exciting to watch this season. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he got onto the score sheet. I've always liked Everton. Despite Benitez, I've always been saying that if I had a well of money, this was even under the Moyes era, that I would have probably invested in Everton, because they always had that team that just needed a little bit more. They needed that push. They needed something. And I really felt like under Ancelotti, they were starting to build and develop that. But naturally, sadly, it's the coaching merry-go-round, and that's what happens. All coaches want to be at big teams, and they don't really become much bigger than Madrid. So when Madrid calls, you got to answer and you got to go, especially if you're leaving Everton. But it's gonna be an exciting season, and the fact that they're firing on all cylinders from the beginning, bodes well for Merseyside as well. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good fun. I'm expecting a lot of good things out of Everton.
Super. Before we go on to the Chelsea Crystal Palace game, just a special mention on another game that happened earlier on today was the Newcastle West Ham game. I don't know if you checked it out. What a cracker of a game. And what a performance from West Ham. Anybody that watched that game?
Yeah, I watched bits of part of it. Very impressed with West Ham. I think they were behind most of the time in the game, but they didn't panic. I think, Moyes is exuding this type of confidence that you guys are good enough. You can, because really, what did he really say to Lingard that changed him last season in those couple of games? Must have been a couple of words like, hey, they don't appreciate you. I love you. You're the greatest thing since, and already he had a chip on his shoulder. So I'm sure he's just continuing with that, he's continuing with that. But I saw the game, and
that's a bit extreme.
Yeah. Hey?
That's a bit extreme. I love you, man.
Yeah, they say players need to feel loved, give them a couple of hugs.
Then he should go to Liverpool, because that's where the hugs are at. Klopp is all about the hugs.
Yeah, but no, from my side, I enjoyed the game. Sad for Newcastle, because gosh, that's another club that's a huge club, and you're hoping they will just turn the tide, but I think they just need to get rid of Steve Bruce. They could do with a manager, that is also maybe young and has got new ideas, because right now Mike Ashley is not going to sell. He's happy to be in the Premier League, and Newcastle can't be that team that's always just made it. I think they need a little bit of a push, but yeah, I wouldn't give it to a Benitez or an old guard. I think, give it to a young up and coming manager who's hungry for success. That sort of thing. So yeah.
They can have Arteta any day.
No, Arteta is rubbish. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Just one thing on the West Ham and Newcastle game. I mean, I really like what's happening with West Ham for one selfish reason. I love the fact that Moyes is turning that club around, because he was, in my opinion, totally mistreated from United fans.
No way.
Totally, my opinion. And I just love the fact
Opinion
that
doesn't count here.
Yeah, take it and make it what you will. But I just feel that he is proving to be a decent manager.
Yes, he's a decent manager.
Are you mistaking Arteta? Because he performed like Arteta is performing at Arsenal right now. So
no. He inherited a terrible West Ham team that didn't have identity. But Arteta inherited a team that was on the decline, yes, but that wasn't terrible. He made that team terrible. But we'll get to Arteta in a minute. I just wanted to mention that, and I really like what Moyes is doing.
No. You're not going to just mention it and fly by. No, Jonah. That's that. No.
But it's my opinion. It's my opinion. I really like what he's doing.
Let it go, Frank. Let him be.
It is my opinion. But anyway, let's move on to Chelsea and Crystal Palace. TK, 3-0. Youngsters coming on the scene, scoring. What's going on with Chelsea?
Well, it's a champion mentality. I mean, this is what it is. They just picked up and carried on where they left off. But on the real though, I think they were good. They were fun to watch. They were playing with an
Okay, just a question, TK. Just a question. Were they good or Palace was poor? I didn't watch the game, so I'm asking an honest question.
Honestly speaking, they were good. I honestly believe that they were good. I think they played with the right kind of intensity. They really put Palace under pressure from the beginning. Whether Palace were trying to move the ball, there was 2-3 guys that were ready to snap them up. And the retention of the ball was really good. When they lost the ball, they were quick to recover, and there was always 2, 3, 4 passing options for any of the Chelsea players that had the ball. So I think it was encouraging to see something like that, and the way they responded to having fans inside the bridge was also great. So we didn't quite expect the lineup that was put out. I didn't think that we'd see Trevor Chalobah having a start. I wasn't expecting to see Alonso. I thought that maybe it would have gone back to a bit of the norm with Chilwell coming in on the left and Reece James bombing down the right. Seeing Chalobah come in there, I thought yes, it was definitely well deserved, because he had an absolutely outstanding Super Cup. Again, even there, probably the best player from a Chelsea perspective. And I think it was very much well deserved that he got a goal. He got a goal on debut at home. It was really nice to see, and the way the guys rallied around him. You could see even through the game, he was very confident, very assured, and he kept getting that confidence from the likes of Azpilicueta, the likes of Rudiger, that were actually pushing him the whole time. So I think the mood at the club at the moment is very good. The guys are enjoying playing with each other. They're enjoying the way that they're playing. I think they're responding very well to Tuchel, to his tactics, to how he wants them to play. And there isn't a feeling of if this guy is playing or not playing, there's a bit of beef. You don't get that sense. There really seems to be a good spirit and a good camaraderie. And I'm pretty sure that yes, it's being driven and fueled largely by the fact that they're winning. And it remains to be seen what happens when the results aren't going as well. But I think we saw in pockets of last season under Tuchel where things weren't going particularly well. I mean, I'm remembering a 3-3 against West Brom, where the guys were, I think they were 2 or 3-0 down at some point, and eventually, clawed it back. So that kind of stuff shows a little bit of resilience here and there, which I think is great. It's the hallmarks of a side that's on song, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super encouraged. I'm buzzing about it. And I've already pinned my flag to the mast. I've placed the bets that they'll win the league, and if they don't, then it's cool. They'll just win it again next year. But I'm really, really, really feeling super confident.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Did you just say Chelsea will win the league?
Yes.
Say that again. What?
Chelsea's going to win the league.
Oh.
And for me, they're also my favorites to win the league.
Based on what?
Yeah. Dude, one, and I think even one, I think they've really got a strong squad, even with the addition of Lukaku. Based on the episode you guys said, I think I heard Frank saying, name one game that Lukaku has won for United. Here's the thing. We don't know if Lukaku will do another Salah because he has to prove a point, just like what Mohamed Salah did when he came to the Premier League. That's one. And for me, the best that I've seen from Lukaku in the EPL was when he was at Everton, playing with Ross Barkley. That's the best we've seen of Lukaku in the EPL. And where it was a question of saying he was playing in a team that, there was not much pressure as compared to what he was at United. And maybe when he went to Inter, the Italian league perhaps, or Conte managed to take the pressure off him. If Tuchel can manage take the pressure off Lukaku and tell him, dude, go enjoy yourself, have a free game, considering the fact that they still Captain America to come back. Because I think he will provide an extra edge to Chelsea.
You are talking about a coach who put on a player, Hudson-Odoi, and subbed him after 10, 15 minutes, and you're talking about no pressure. My man, there's going to be too much pressure on Lukaku.
I think there will be pressure because of the price tag, because honestly, I don't think Morata is a bad... I honestly don't think Morata is a rubbish striker.
Eh? Who?
Morata is not a
it's about
rubbish
how the
striker.
coach will manage. If Tuchel can do the right management on Lukaku will perform, I can promise you now.
Guys, you guys are talking like the guy has not matured. This is a different player than
he's gonna score goals, guys. He's
going to bang goals. That's what he does. Pressure or no pressure. That's what he does.
What? He's gonna bang them, and then
no, Jonah, you can't say pressure, no pressure. Pressure is part of the game.
Yeah, but you cannot say because EPL. Yes, I agree.
Think about it. Think about the pressure Grealish is already under right now.
Yeah, and
after one game, he's been labeled 100 million man, and City have lost because City lost. It's his fault.
He does not have the track record that Lukaku has.
Wait.
Track record of being a proven goal scorer. So Lukaku knows how to do it.
Let me come in there. When you look at you've made a point about Grealish, né? And I think Bati put it succinctly in the beginning that what is making Grealish, or what made Grealish struggle, and this is also something that I thought might happen, is that Grealish still thinks he's at Aston Villa, where everything revolves around him. He is no longer at Aston Villa. That 100 million price tag for him he should have looked at that and said, "Sharp, okay, I'm 100 million, but look at the players that I have around me. I'm 100 million, but I'm sitting in a team that's worth $1 billion. All I need to do is just be myself and just relax. I don't need to carry this team." He's trying to carry the team. He doesn't need to carry the team.
Yeah, but TK, two things to mention there. Number one, it's just one game. And the guy has had how many training sessions with City? Not that many. So he will find his feet at City. That's the first thing.
Yes, I agree with you, but all the more reason,
point,
the fact that he hasn't had that many training sessions, he should have just chilled. The fact that they've given him the confidence to say, okay, maybe it might not be a confidence thing. Maybe they are forced to play him because they've paid 100 million for him, so you have to start him. Sure, but he should always rely on the fact that, you know what, I haven't really trained with these guys, so let me just watch the game from close up. Let me get into the right spaces, because Bernardo is going to find me. Cancelo is going to find me. Sterling is going to find me. Everybody in that team is going to do everything they can to make it easy for him to not look
for him. Yes. He doesn't have to.
The second point I wanted to make,
doesn't that come down to the man management?
We're taking away the fact that Tottenham Hotspur, as much as it hurts me to say this, they defended extremely well on him. That's just, Tanganga was a monster today.
Yes,
he
my man of
blocked
the
him
match.
left, right, center.
Again, he bullied him because Grealish put himself in that position. Because
Position
Grealish
to
said,
be bullied.
Yes, Grealish said, I'm worth 100 million. I must show them why they paid 100 million. He didn't need to do that. If Grealish was
That's
just
what I'm saying.
and accepted that, you know what, it's cool, I'm worth 100 million, but you know, I'm still Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. I'm playing at Man City with arguably the best players in the league, as it were. Then, you know, this should be easy. He could have just relaxed. He could have taken his time getting into it, no problem. But almost deal, and that's what happened. He got caught out. He turned into Keira Knightley in whatever that movie was, where she's got the Grealish hairstyle. And
Guys,
wasn't that the role of the manager as well, to say, dude, yes, you costed this much, but you don't need to carry this team. You don't need to put yourself under this much pressure.
I wouldn't
Kevin,
be
I think
surprised.
you guys are being really,
This is-
really harsh on
No,
me.
wait, Kevin.
Because
Kevin.
for the player to adapt as well to the team, you know, the manager also has a role to play.
Yeah, but Kevin, you guys, okay, now I think we are being really, as much as Grealish had a bad game, we are being very unfair to the guy. You cannot expect him to adapt to the style of play in one game. It's just not going to happen.
But you also can't expect him to carry the team on day one, which is what he tried to do. That's where he messed up.
That is where the manager comes in, and
Exactly.
he must
That's what I'm saying.
player and understand that no, the player can't carry this team. The player is not ready to play my style. He should have benched him and put Bernardo Silva. That's the man management. But at the same time, we should have expected Grealish to do what Grealish does, and he did. But it just didn't pan off because one, City don't play that way. They play a lot of passing. Grealish held onto the ball far too long, too many times, and it was going to happen. That is where the coach should have said, you know what, I should have rather brought him on 70 minutes to try something different to what we are used to. Maybe that might have worked.
He will get better.
No,
Guys,
of course.
let me go back to Lukaku. I'm not going to talk about this overrated, overpriced English player. I'm not going to waste my time on Grealish. Let me go back to Lukaku. Lukaku will do well, as I said. Lukaku will do well. Like the numbers that he produced for United, the numbers he produced for Everton, the same average numbers. What I would put out though is that since we're talking about pressure, remember Inter were not under pressure to win the league, because
sure, not exactly.
So he was not under pressure at Juve also.
Exactly.
I mean, at Inter.
He was
He's
under the
never been
radar,
under
just
pressure.
doing his thing.
Exactly.
So
He didn't have the pressure.
To play for Chelsea and produce that trophy, and then we will talk about Lukaku being in the same level as Lewandowski and all the other good strikers in the world.
We wouldn't get
now,
there. We wouldn't get
No,
there.
but
That's an
that's
insult.
even too much. But he must do it for 5 seasons.
Let me ask TK a simple
Before you
question.
can even pick the names there.
What would be enough in terms of goals for you from Lukaku? I'm just talking about the league. Just the league. 15, 12, 18.
He's 100 million. He is 100 million.
If Lukaku, for me, if Lukaku doesn't score more than 18 goals, minimum, more than 18 goals, for me,
goals, 100 million.
Listen.
Wait, let him finish. In the league, are you talking about just the
I'm
league?
talking about the league. I'm not
Cool,
including Champions League. What. If Lukaku doesn't, as an absolute minimum, score 18 goals, and as an absolute minimum get 15 plus assists as an absolute minimum that we don't win anything, then he is, for me, for 100 million, then he has failed. For me, as a fan. But in all of that, my man, in all of that, if Lukaku, with that 100 million price tag, is under the pressure to have to score, to have to commit and what, and everybody is now going to mark him, and while they're marking him, it releases Timo Werner, it releases Christian Pulisic, it releases Havertz, it releases Mount, it releases whoever else. If out of all of that, for that 100 million, he fails to hit those targets, and these guys hit those targets and we win, for me, he's achieved what has been needed, because we needed a striker to help us win. If the striker helps us win by pulling off players and whatever else, that for me is a win. That is all I want. If he fails to score and we don't win, then he has failed. That's
so basically you just want him to produce Bruno Fernandes' numbers minimum, then he'll be fine.
Listen,
So
if he
TK,
produces Bruno,
if he gives you 25 goals, but you don't win the league, has he failed?
No.
he gives me 25 goals and we don't win the league, then at least I will accept that, you know what, we've spent 97 million and we've got 25 goals out of it. The defense needs to get their act together.
Let's just round off the number.
That's a cop out. That's a cop out.
Don't say 97.
You're
Just say
saying the
100.
purpose
I did say 100
of
million.
his purchase, the purpose of his purchase was to give you goals to win the league. So if he gets you 5 goals and you win the league, he's done his job because you've won the league.
Listen,
But if he gives you 25 or 30 goals and you don't win the league,
you missed what I was saying. If he gives me 5 goals and we win the league, because in him only being able to score 5 goals is because he's now being marked by 4 defenders in the 4-4-2, and he only gets 5 goals out of being marked by 4 defenders of the 4-4-2, but everybody else is scoring and we win the league. I'm happy with that because he's done that. He has taken the pressure off all of these other guys. He's proven that he's such a threat that you must put 4 people on him every single game. That for me shows that everybody is afraid of him.
In a nutshell, if what I'm hearing is that for Lukaku to have been a good buy, Chelsea must win the league. Whether he scores 1 goal or 100 goals, as long as his influence helps the team win the league, it was a good investment. Anything other than that?
For 100 million, yes.
Okay.
So let me.
What was Morata's
about
price?
100 million, let me ask you a question.
60, I think.
Since we're talking about 100 millions, let me ask you a question, Nana, and it's the same question to the rest of the United fans here, because when we touched 100 million, the first club to have done it was Manchester United with Paul Pogba. So has Paul Pogba been a success?
No, Chief, don't lie.
Get your figures right.
Stop.
100 million, it was United with Paul Pogba.
No.
You can hide
Talking
it,
pounds,
or you
yes,
did it first.
We are talking pounds here, Chief.
And bring the
We're not talking about euros.
It doesn't matter. You did it first. So my question
We
still
have
remains.
not paid 100 million for any player. Till
Never
they
had
have
100 million
did for
pounds
Pogba.
for
And
any player.
zip. Get your facts straight, Chief.
No, my
Never.
facts are straight. You did pay 100 million for Paul Pogba. You always play it down the same
Okay,
way.
you obviously have the stats.
We understand you stay in France and you deal with euros, but this is an English show which deals with pounds, okay? So
No.
please,
No, listen to what I'm saying.
you paid 89
Listen to what
million
I'm
pounds.
saying, Frank. No. What
You
I'm
paid
saying is Manchester United paid over 100 million pounds for Paul
No.
Pogba. This is what I'm
are you
saying.
talking about?
All right. But
But you are
Frank, we can do some
incorrect.
fact check. We
That's
can do some
incorrect.
fact checks afterwards. We can
We
do
don't
some
need to
fact
do
checks afterwards.
fact check.
Fine. But you know what? That's not the argument. My question to
Okay.
you, since you're saying 100 million for Lukaku, wada, was Paul Pogba a success at United? Yes or no?
In terms of the league,
for the fee that was paid for him, world record 100 million pounds.
What are you
Is he a
talking about?
success?
It was
We
80
don't
million
know what
pounds.
you're talking about first.
I don't
You
know where
don't
he's
know,
getting the
but
100 from, but
For
anyway.
the fee,
No,
minus
to
minus
answer
the 3 or 4 that you want, whatever. For the fee that he came in for, is he a success?
he is a success in my opinion. Simply, you guys use the example of if you mention Cristiano Ronaldo in Juventus, who are the people around him? And for the longest time, that has been Pogba's issue, that the people around him have been average. But he has been a good buy for United. I can only imagine if we hadn't bought him, we would probably have bought 2 Frays with that 100 million you're talking about. And I can only imagine, yes, we haven't won the league.
Are we done talking about Chelsea, guys?
Yeah, it's a good transition to United and Leeds.
Okay.
So I want to talk about Pogba. Is he a success? He had a fantastic game.
Pogba's only success is bringing in players like Sancho, Fernandes, etc. But what he's done on the pitch, he has not been consistent enough to be called a success, in my opinion. So he has definitely uplifted the club's value in terms of the commercial side, because he's big on Instagram, he's big on socials, etc. And he's managed to have an effect on bringing on other good players, like I said, the Sanchos, the Varans, etc. Because everyone wants to play with Paul Pogba. I mean, come on, he's Paul Pogba. So that has been the success. But in terms of on the pitch, in consistency and delivering, he's had 1 good season out of how many? And that can definitely not be called a success, in my opinion. But let's see this season.
It's a 100 million flop for United.
Yeah, you can call it 100 million flop for now. In what sense? On the pitch, yes, but he's brought in money. So it depends on how you define.
But he wasn't brought to bring in money first. He was
Who
brought
told you?
to improve. He was brought to improve performances on the pitch.
Whose opinion
Now you're
is that?
finding excuses for the guy.
Wait, whose opinion is that? That is your opinion.
Why do you buy a player? Do you buy a player for commercial reasons?
You
Come
buy
on.
a player to make
They
you
actually
money.
do. They actually do, Jono. Some clubs actually do.
Yeah, but
Some clubs actually do.
Not at United, because apparently United.
Yeah,
wants
you'd be
to win,
surprised.
right?
No.
Let me come in there, Jono. Let me come in there. There's a reason why you call us the biggest and the richest. It's because of such signings that you cannot afford. And also, let me correct you. I think Paul Pogba is not that much expensive than what you paid for Pepe. So I don't know what you get.
It's
I don't know what you
30
get.
million plus. It's
I don't know what
30
you get.
million more. It's what
I
you
don't
paid
know
for
what you
Varane.
How are you getting your figures, John?
Where you
Pepe
get
was
this?
70.
100
Pepe was 70 million. Pogba 100.
75.
What?
Alright. Okay,
100.
75. I'll give you a 5+.
So,
Okay.
And as we paying it in installments, you paid it cash.
Jonathan.
Yes.
You can share the screen, right?
Yeah.
You can share screen. So for everyone to see, can you just go to your Google and share the screen whilst we are watching?
I will do. I am busy
Man
doing some.
United.
I am
Paul
busy doing
Pogba
some fact check.
What?
I'm going to do it. Answer my question first. Do not derive from the question.
During the show.
You are
Why
saying, are you agreeing with me that Paul Pogba is 100 million flop for Manchester United?
No, I'm not
It's
agreeing.
not
because
100
you-
million.
that's
So we don't agree.
I'm not agreeing.
Okay, 92 million.
No.
No.
80, bruh.
Is the fee. That was the fee. When you put that in there, then we can continue. Because your fact is wrong. Your question is wrong. It's like saying, do you believe 2 + 5 is 1,000?
No.
It's
You're
wrong with
deriving from my question. My question is simple. Regardless of the fee, Paul Pogba is an extremely expensive flop for Manchester United. And what you're saying now, you're finding the excuse, and you're saying he was brought in to make money and not to play football. That's what you're saying.
Jono, hasn't Pogba won trophies with United?
What did he win?
Europa.
Come on, Jono. Surely
No, I'm
a
asking.
simple Google
I'm not a
search.
United fan, so I don't follow everything. What did he
So
win?
how is he a flop if he's won
No, I'm
Cup.
asking. It's a question. I did not say. I say it's a question that I'm
You've
asking.
won the FA.
I'm
Your
using
question is-
your logic, the same logic you're applying
when
for
you say
Lukaku.
you agree with me,
Yes.
that's not a
I'm
question.
using the same logic that you applied for Lukaku on Pogba. You're saying for the fee that he's being brought, if he does not win the league, then you're calling him a flop. Hence, I'm using that logic, and I said, for the fee that Pogba was brought in, should we call him a flop? Are you agreeing with me that he's a flop?
Is
No,
United the European
don't agree.
champions right now? Or were they European champions when he
So
came?
that's based on condition. There are conditions that you put into that.
Of course, you're joining the European champions. All you need to do is to win the lesser trophy underneath Champions League. That's all is expected from you. So,
Okay.
Christian
All right.
Carambo won a Champions League. I'm just saying.
Madrid.
Hey, but
So
Tika,
did
you
John
don't like that
O'Shea.
player, huh?
Anyway, guys, let's come back to the game. The Manchester United versus Leeds. Bati, I want to hear from you. Bruno
Please.
Fernandes hat-trick. We are winning the league, surely. Landslide win, surely.
You are not baiting me there, Jono. I know what you're doing, so relax.
What am I
my
doing?
guy.
I'm asking you.
Calm
Isn't
down.
Man United going to win the league? I
Calm
mean,
down.
come on.
Let me analyze the game. Stop talking
Okay,
about
go
the league. It's the first game of the season. Relax. Calm down. So Leeds United, for me, like in the first half, I was impressed. I thought they were going to be a different team this season. They're really delusional. Their coach is, that guy is crazy. Let me just put it like that. You cannot, like, you just came from championship. You're still a small team in terms of being new in EPL. And all you do, whether you are facing Crystal Palace or you are facing Chelsea or Liverpool, you just go attack. No, man, you cannot do that. So, in the first half, I was impressed because Leeds United seemed like they were disciplined and they were closing spaces. They were not allowing United to, penetrate them. And I was like, they really defending well. And then, in the second half, everything started crumbling. I think when we scored, and then they got the equalizer, that's when they started losing discipline and then started attacking United all willy-nilly. And then United caught them a number of times on a counter-attack. And the transition was just amazing from United. Coming back to Bruno, I don't think you guys saw the best of Bruno last season. I think it was his first full season. And you just saw glimpses of his brilliance. I think this season you're going to see who Bruno Fernandes is. And your penalty jokes will be a forgotten joke, like the book of Bafti that you guys used to talk about back in the days in the group. Now I'm celebrating 5 scorelines, like 5-something scorelines, Also, I must say that the discipline that the team is showing under Ole, guys, I don't think we give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough credit. The guy is brilliant, or let me say he's been brilliant at some points, but he made rookie coach mistakes. I think last season when like his substitutions and his decision making was just questionable at some points. But the game yesterday was just superb. Greenwood coming in, my boy, left and right. He scores with any part of his body, and I was impressed. And Pogba assisting, that's not something small. And I think you're gonna see the best of him also, because I always thought Pogba needed other good players besides him. Though I'm not his biggest fan, but I think we will see the best of him this season, especially if we end up signing a midfielder. We've got Varane now, so we can release the McFred partnership and put one CDM and release Pogba to push with Bruno. So the season coming for me, Jono, it's going to be an interesting season. I'll give you my prediction properly after the transfer window has closed. So that's my.
So just before I get Franklin's feedback, what you're saying, Bati, is United is on the good path. This is what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Good first game, but you're not sticking your neck up to say that this team can win the Champions League unless you add more players. That's what you're saying.
Let me tell you this. As we are right now, if we don't sign any more players, we will still challenge for the league and possibly win it. Because I
agree with.
I'm confident at the squad that we have. As if we do sign one more player, CDM mostly, if we do, I will stick out my neck and say United is winning. Just like Chelsea fans now after signing Lukaku. Now they know they stand a really good chance of winning the league. I'm also saying the same. If we sign a CDM, I'm sticking my neck out there and saying we are definitely winning the league. Also, I'll put my neck out there.
Okay, Frank, I want to hear from you. Is United winning the league?
Wilfred Ndidi, there's your CDM right there.
Who's my CDM?
No, I'm just saying, Wilfred Ndidi is available since you want the CDM. Go fetch it.
For what fee?
That boy is fire, guys. That boy is fire.
One can't take.
So for me, right, I just want to say a couple of things. But first thing I want to say is, yes, I agree with Bati about us not giving Ole enough credit. Everyone thinks that coaching is all about tactics. And one thing I know, yes, it is about tactics. Let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of tactics that go involved, but there's a lot of other things that get overlooked that Ole is really good at. And I think one of his strongest traits is his man management.
I agree
So
with that.
if we look at how Ole has allowed the players to express themselves and play with confidence, these guys, football, we must understand, is huge on confidence. So players play well when they are confident, when they are playing well, and if they're not playing well, the confidence drops. You know, you start doubting yourself. You start doubting if you're ever going to score, you're ever going to make a right tackle, etc., etc. And one thing I can see in this team right now is the amount of confidence that they are playing with. And sure, Ole may not be the best tactical coach, but his man management has definitely improved the way the team is playing with each other. Second point I wanted to make, Paul Pogba. Now, I have always maintained that for me, Paul Pogba has the potential to be the best all-round footballer that I have ever seen play. I'm talking about all-round, and I'm talking about every attribute except goalkeeping department in a player. I think he has the potential, if he performs consistently, to be that player, but he doesn't. Now, yesterday was a game we witnessed where Pogba did pretty much everything, and he did it to the T. What more can you ask from a player if he does that week? I'm not asking him to assist 4 times in every game, but if he plays in that kind of manner, with that kind of confidence, with that kind of steel, bruh, I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Especially for that amount of money.
Correct. Now, as for United winning the league, I will not say we are going to win the league outright, but I definitely think, and I've maintained this, we will definitely compete this season. We will put people under pressure. It will not be a 12 or 15 point gap. It's going to be very close between the teams, and United are going to be right up there this season. Like Bati said, lastly, I think that if we get a CDM and Haaland, it catches for everybody. No team is coming close. Can have your Lukakus, have your Kanes, I don't care. We will win the league. We will win the FA Cup. We will win the Champions League. Quadruple under Ole. If we get Haaland and a CDM, it's curtains for all of you.
Frank, I'd like to ask a question.
Okay.
Wait, John. I'd just like to ask a question. since you are not getting Haaland and this superstar CDM, what position are you going to finish?
How do you know that we're not getting them?
Okay,
Yeah, but
what position are you going to finish? Since you are saying you are going to compete, what is competing?
Let's wait for the transfer market to close.
1 or 2.
Yeah,
1 or 2. Okay,
that's
All
it.
right. That's what I want.
You see,
Thank you.
Guys,
Yeah, okay.
also I think let me just say this quick one. I think Chelsea overestimate their capabilities.
100%.
If you guys look at Chelsea last season in the league, they were dismal.
They were poor.
They were poor. Now, one signing and you think you are there, everything will be fixed.
Do you
because
remember-
Can I ask you a question, Bati?
Remember how we
Bati,
league
can
is
I
not
ask you a
Champions
question?
Wait,
Let me ask you a question, Bati.
wait.
No, wait, please, let me ask him.
But this
No, please,
this is my last point.
This is important. Just a simple question, Bati. Who is the current UEFA Champions League champion?
The overestimated one.
Chelsea.
The ones who-
It's the overestimated Chelsea, right?
Wait.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wait.
No,
The
Jono,
same-
Jono,
the
let's
same-
How
not
many
confuse
games they
it.
play to
Jono,
win
let's not
Champions
confuse it.
Wait.
But what you're saying is winning
Wait.
the Champions League is just winning a few games. Is that what
Wait.
you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like 8 or 12 games.
Okay, good.
So then I guess everybody
It's not-
should.
I mean,
No,
Then everybody
no,
should.
TK.
So Real Madrid is a
Okay.
small club for having
If
won
you
all
take-
those Champions Leagues.
if Porto can win Champions League, come on now.
So
Yes,
Champions
yes.
League means nothing. That's what you're saying.
No, we're not
I'm not
saying
saying
that.
it
That's what
doesn't
you're
mean-
We're not-
saying.
but
No,
any
Jono,
weak
we're
team-
not
any
saying
weak
that.
team can win
Mm.
Champions League. Okay.
So
No, but
so
guys,
so
see,
so
this
when
is-
when United won it, were they weak?
Yeah. They just won
No.
a few games, right?
If we didn't win trebles, I would say we were weak. Obviously,
Exactly, he's answered your question.
All right,
Okay,
guys.
so
Anyway,
wait, okay,
we got
wait.
5 minutes left.
No,
Dude,
hang on.
there was
Hang on.
a point.
Whoa,
Hang on.
guys. We
Let's
got
leave-
5
let's
minutes
leave-
left.
let's
We
leave
gotta
the
wrap
treble.
it up.
Let's leave the treble. The year that they won the Champions League without winning the treble, were they weak?
Yes.
possibly.
Okay.
we
All right.
were.
No,
Okay.
that
No,
is-
no, they were
Wait,
not weak.
wait.
No,
No.
TK. Let's no. That is disingenuous of yourself. When
How is it-
last
how is
season,
it-
last season. No, wait, TK.
The
Let
point
me
that's
ask you a
being
simple
made is
question.
that-
Let me ask you a simple question. Was Frank Lampard fired for his position in UEFA or his position in the league? Why was Frank Lampard fired?
Exactly. Answer.
Frank Lampard was fired for the position in the league. That
Okay.
Thank you. End of story.
With a
Anybody
new,
watch
you are weak.
Watford and Aston Villa? Watford beating Aston Villa 3-2. Brighton winning at Burnley.
That
Leicester
was very
City.
shocking.
Yeah.
I think we all went for Burnley in that game, but yeah,
Yeah,
surprised
me
they
too.
lost.
I went for Burnley as well.
I'm just glad
Um,
Sanchez conceded because everybody has him in their fantasy team.
Who?
Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Leicester
But-
City beating Wolves. And then in the curtain opening, Brentford beating Arsenal by 2 goals to 0.
As expected.
That was
Jono-
a very poor performance.
Jono, Pep,
Yeah.
Save the best for last.
what
And you give
what
us
you guys?
5 minutes.
What's the plan with that player? Pepe, 75 million over 2 seasons has got to show.
But that's the problem when you pay in installments.
Arsenal is shocking, guys. No. We need to talk about this. Arsenal is
Yeah.
shocking. What I saw yesterday was, it was embarrassing. I was embarrassed for them, even though I hate them. That was hard to watch, bro. Like, there's no passion, there's no steel. The players don't respect the badge. I think they don't know the history of the team. When you think about your Vieiras, your Thierry Henrys, like the players that used to play for Arsenal, I'm even pissed off because now I'm thinking, if we meet such a useless team, like, it's not gonna be the same, bro. Like, guys, please talk to your players, man. You're weak. Okay, guys, you can.
But no,
tell me.
has Arteta lost the dressing room?
Yeah, I
he's
think
lost
he lost.
he
lost
has.
it last year in December.
Yes.
He lost it.
Hmm.
And the fact is now what's happening is even the players don't believe in the club anymore. And that's the
Yep.
thing. As a player, you know, as much as I hate it, what I love about what I saw with United is that there is a hype around the club that finally the owners have woken up. Do you know what I mean? They are trying to bring the club to a good direction. You know, the Sanchos, the Varane, when you're looking at what they're trying to do on the market, they talks about Haaland. You know, whether it's going to materialize or not, at least it gives you a hype. With Arsenal, you know, the minute you get linked to a player, it will last 2 days and someone else is going to come in and sign that player. You know, even the current players don't believe in that club anymore. You've got deadwoods in that club that they've been trying to sell for 4 seasons now. Still can't get rid of them.
Is the number 4 jersey at Arsenal available?
I doubt it.
Who do you want to give it to?
Isn't that
No,
what
just-
Murray
just
is
checking.
wearing?
It's Murray, yeah, it's Murray.
Yeah,
It's not-
Murray. I
Murray.
think that's what Murray's wearing. Yeah.
Who's Murray?
Don't worry about it. He's
some
irrelevant.
defender.
Don't worry.
Some defender.
Oh my God.
He's irrelevant. No, but that's what I'm saying. The problem at Arsenal is deep, and the fact that the club still believes in someone like Arteta, who has shown his limit. Yes, he's trying. He was Pep's understudy, but he's still a rookie manager that's still trying to find his way. That is a pathetic. If I have to compare with Ole, who's showing at least good leadership skills in man management, Arteta is showing the opposite in man management. The
Johnny,
total
10
opposite.
seconds. 10 seconds. You're talking about Arteta being Pep's understudy. And I think that's the biggest mistake that Arsenal is doing, because you cannot use the same players that Arsenal has and you try to play the same ways, the way City plays, with a squad of £1 billion built, and you guys, your highest transfer fee ever is what, Pepe, and the other ones are like 40 million plus £1, those kind of players. So I think it's a mistake, bro. You need to find another coach quick, who can work with.
But that's the problem, Bati. The only way Arsenal is going to find another coach is because the fans are back in the stadium. By the time we play City or by the next home game, they will come there and make noise. And that's the only thing that's going to save Arsenal's season. So I'm saying it, and I know all the Arsenal fans always attack me and say, Jonathan, you're too negative. The only way Arsenal has a good, decent season is if now that we've lost to Brentford, we lose to Chelsea.
No way. Not Big Sam. Not Big Sam.
Your pet Sam.
Brentford.
No, that's the question.
Go ahead.
So I just want to make a quick reference. The reason why United are currently doing well is because I think our recruitment has changed, right? And the recruitment has changed for the better. We are identifying really good players, and yes, some of them have come at really good prices, some have not. We've had to pay a bit more. Now, regarding Arteta and regarding Arsenal, do you think that it's solely Arteta to blame? Or you think, because my thing is, if we look at United over since Ferguson left and the progression, we saw Louis van Gaal was given the kind of players he wants. Let's not talk about Moyes because he was a complete flop. And then Jose Mourinho was also kind of given the players he wants. And now Ole is also kind of given the players that he wants, or so to speak. And if you look at the different types of recruitments and that has been happening over the years, you can see now that we are heading in the right direction. Now with you guys, ever since Wenger left,
There's been no direction.
maybe
no
Aubameyang. Maybe Aubameyang is probably the only player that I think that, Arsenal have really, and maybe Ben White, so to speak. I think he can do
please.
well. No, wait, let me finish.
Oh, please.
Ben White is a decent player.
Yeah,
He's not
decent.
bad. Yeah, okay,
Decent.
but wait.
But I can name 2 other players that I believe are decent as much as Ben White in that Arsenal team.
Who?
I would give you Gabriel that we bought from the French league last
okay.
season. Yeah, I will tell you Gabriel.
Okay, and then who else?
I would say, you know what? I would say Rob Holding.
No,
I
he's
don't
rubbish.
believe. I
Rubbish.
don't
If you're
believe Ben
if you're
White.
giving me
to be
Kieran
a
Tierney,
major
then
upgrade.
maybe yes. But Holding is rubbish. Man. He's rubbish. Please. Let's move on. Anyway,
Okay,
so
but this is my point.
Arsenal's recruitment has not lived up to the standard that it should. And you don't always have to spend 78 million to get a really good player. There are lots of good players that you can get for good pricing. What is happening? Is it Arteta or is it a combination of both? That's my
Okay,
question.
let me explain to you why. And this is why people don't always understand my issue with Wenger. Okay, because this goes way back to Arsene Wenger. Okay, there's the culture that he built at the club, that you always have to go and look for the cheap young development kids and turn them into star, is so strong that this is what Arsenal is hanging on to. Okay, and that's what every other manager that comes in, he's being asked to do what Wenger did, and only Wenger could do what Wenger did, and that's why they failed him. Now, if you look at Robert Holding, for example, under Arsene Wenger, the kid looked excellent. Under Unai Emery, the kid looked okay, although he started declining a bit, but he looked still decent. Under Arteta, he's going backwards. Bellerin going backwards. I can name you everybody, all the Arsenal. Aubameyang going backwards. So now it's about the manager. Now the manager is already being asked something that he's not equipped to do. That's the first thing. The second thing is the manager himself, trying to do something that he knows he's not capable of doing.
All right, cool.
Do you understand? And that's the problem.
I get you on that point, but I don't agree with you about Wenger being the problem, because Wenger before there was a section where Wenger was spending money more than even United. So the problem was not Wenger. He had to solve a problem that was created for him, and that was the way he found how to solve it.
And that's fine. Why I blame him is he had the opportunity to stand up to that board, but no, all he did was shield that board and continue the magic.
When they pay you money.
Of
Chief,
course,
but
that's why I have an issue with him. He was earning 8 million a year. That's why I have an issue with him. But what he did
have an issue with the guy earning money. It's
but that's fine. I don't mind. The problem is he maintained a culture that is not difficult to change at Arsenal. Because Edu, that's all he knows. He knows Wenger. He comes in there, he's gonna try and do what Wenger did. Arteta was brought in by Wenger. He played under Wenger. He was developed by Wenger, and he's trying to do the same thing. And as long as we don't change that, we will never move forward. And that, for me, is the issue with Arsenal.
So you're blaming the model that Wenger built?
Absolutely, 100%.
And that model needs to change now.
That model needs to be broken down completely. They tried to break it down when we brought that Mislintat, the recruitment guy. He started going after different types of players that cost money. But then guess what Arsenal did very quickly? Went back to the old model and say, you know what? That model is sustainable. That model saves us money. That model will continue to develop players. Because all of a sudden you had Saka breaking through into the team. You had Martinelli breaking through into the team. Smith Rowe breaking through into the team. They're like, okay, Arsenal is back. So we're going back to the old model. And that's the issue.
Okay. I think what you guys really, really need to do, the one thing I saw about the game with Brentford was that you didn't have any sort of, I don't want to use the term leaders because it's overused, but any big boys. I'll give you an example of West Ham. Not this current West Ham team, but maybe a year or two ago. Think of a Mark Noble. Think of a Mark Noble. Think of
You can say it, Nana, the big boys. No, I'm sorry.
Big boys. Big boys.
Because you guys were bullied. The goals you conceded were typical goals that, So my thing is, sometimes you will have a player like Cahill. Cahill will leave Chelsea. he's considered useless. He'll go to another team, play for 2-3 years before he retires.
Yeah, a useless
Phil-
team.
No, but listen to this. Obviously, at the level you need to be playing for at a Chelsea, City, United is not the same. The same Evans that couldn't do jack at United has been at Leicester for how long? And Leicester's pretty much been bordering on top 4. My point is, those are the type of players you guys should be looking for to rebuild your team. Because they know the English culture, they
Good point.
understand the way, they may not understand the Arsenal way, but they understand how the Premier League works, right?
Maybe.
You're going to take...
Maybe.
No, that
Isn't that what
maybe.
they're trying to do with a guy like William?
Yeah, don't get me started.
Fair enough. No, yes. Willian, I will give you. Willian is a perfect example of what they were trying to do. Yes. But
that's what
remember-
they tried to do, Nana.
But wait,
They
Jono,
tried that with
they
Peter
went
Cech.
about
Try
it the
that.
wrong way.
No,
Jono.
Peter Cech,
Jono, okay, let me ask you this. Jono,
Silvestre. Remember
Jono.
those?
Jono,
Well
let me
back.
ask you this.
Do I need to
If you are
continue?
driving,
Benayoun. Do I need to continue? Do I need to continue? Really?
no.
Okay.
Willian,
Those so
Willian
they tried
was
it and
not-
it failed.
no, the strategy was right, but it was implemented incorrectly.
No,
You should have
the
gone for
strategy
players
at
that you-
Arsenal, it does not work. I'll tell you what
No.
works. Well, I tell you what works. When you bring in top class quality players that can make a difference. Aubameyang, that was a good one. He came in and he made a difference. But guess what? He came in at the wrong time at Arsenal because then he got a manager
because
that
you
could
haven't
manage him.
followed the model that all strong teams have followed. What is the Arsenal spine? If you remember last week, I asked you, name your team for me. You don't have a spine. And then you go and fetch a Willian who will not backtrack. That is where you got it wrong. So, for example, if you had gone to, whether it is Everton, even if it's Everton or West Ham, you get a Jagielka or you get a
But I
somebody
give
who
you
understands the
names.
Premier League.
They've tried it and it failed. We've
They
tried
haven't,
it. It
Jono.
all started with Silvestre, and I will forever hate Wenger for that. Okay, and the likes of the Luis coming in, your Danny Welbeck's coming in, your Benayoun coming in, your Kim Shellstrom coming in with a broken back. That's what happens when you go and sign those old Madalas. They come in and they use Arsenal as a retire home and they give nothing back to the club. It has
The
failed.
Peter Cechs.
The Peter Cechs. I mean, come on. It failed. It did not work. The guy is now working back at Chelsea. What did he do for Arsenal? Nothing.
Peter Cech delivered us the Europa League in Baku. He completed his mandate.
Yeah, and then he was signed back to Chelsea. But anyway, guys, we need to wrap the show up. I just got one question. You each have 20 seconds to respond to this. Name your 3 standout players for the week. Okay, 20 seconds.
Well, from the games I watched,
Yeah.
Bruno, Tanganga, and I would say Pogba. Bruno, I just
TK.
had to mention his name. Like,
Of course. I would be surprised that you didn't. TK.
yeah.
Cool. For me, quite simply, Bruno. I think a hat trick on day one is something phenomenal, especially in a game that is considered, a big one. So Bruno for me, for the hat trick and the assist. Then definitely got a shout out to my boy Trevor Chalobah getting his debut on home soil in the Premier League and also scoring a goal that was special. And Mohamed Salah, 5 opening game goals, 5 years running. That's an unbelievable achievement. And those are my 3.
All right. Frank.
Paul Pogba, Fernandes, and then I'm gonna have a tied third, Tanganga and Chalobah. Those are my tied. Well, those are the 3 outstanding players, but I'll put those 2 together. Yeah.
Bati.
From my side, I would say it is Bruno Fernandes, the best player in the Premier League right now. Pogba, 4 assists and a hat trick from Bruno Fernandes. For me, those are my number 1 and 2. And then my third would be Salah. The guy got 2 assists and a goal. So yeah, those are my 3 best players for the weekend.
All right, Kevin.
Yeah, for me, it's obviously Bruno, Mohamed Salah, of course, and I was quite impressed with Son today.
Okay. For me, Pogba, the best player in the world for me, right? In his position. And then the second, I'll give it to Salah, right? And third, I'll give Tanganga. He was immense today.
Brilliant.
He was immense today.
You don't have Bruno there.
I will never have Bruno anywhere near any of my teams. Never. Overrated player. Anyway, guys, that brings to a close to the show. Thank you guys for being in. As always, we look forward to catching up again next week. For everybody watching, don't forget to subscribe and send us your comment and share. And we look forward to catching up with you. Guys, I want to thank you for tonight, and savor this moment, United fans. Savor this moment, Chelsea fans. Savor this moment, Liverpool fans. Guess what? It's back to the drawing board for Arsenal, and see you guys next week.
It'll be back to the drawing board next week as well.
Cheers, bro. Cheers.
You can't say anything. All right, cheers, man.